Hello and welcome to today's CodeBook tutorial. Today we're going to be discussing the room editor. To open a room editor, select Home and then select the room editor. Alternatively, locate your room in the Project Explorer, right click and select the room editor. To navigate through different rooms inside the room editor, you can select from a department drop-down, a floor drop-down, the room drop-down or the instance drop-down. If we wanted to select a room in our MEN department, we can then select the floor, the room and the instance of the room. The room editor in CodeBook is the hub of all room associated data. On the room details status tab, we can see basic information such as is this room linked to BIM, when was it synchronized, when were the equipment lists updated, the progress status, the percentage complete, general notes, FF&E notes, as well as a room image that we've associated with this room. If we scroll right through the room images, we can see the other alternate images associated with this room, and if we select the room image button, we can associate new JPEGs or remove existing JPEGs from this room. We can also attach PDFs, service manuals, and any other associated data. To make a change, simply type in the box you wish to edit and enter your value. To make a save, click Save. If you wish to undo these changes, click Undo. Note, no changes will be saved until you click Save. If we move over to room values now, we can see basic information such as room code, room name, area required, our design templates, as well as our assembly templates. Note, these values are mostly lookups, meaning when we select from a drop-down list, that will give us a predetermined selection of values. These are controlled from within the lookups editor and will not allow you to 3-type these in. Some of the additional fields are classified as room notes, so you can select your field and enter your information manually. Again, to make any change, click Save. You will also note this room category administration has now turned to green. This means this is a room data override and no longer corresponds to the room type template RT004 Office that we have set. This field and this form is entirely customizable. If you do not wish to see room label, it can be removed, and if you need additional room fields, these can be added from within the lookups editor. If we move across now to the room data tab, this is the room data sheet that can be produced directly out of Word or Excel. We can see that we split these into 4 distinct categories, such as design issues, finishes, briefing, and environmental. These are controlled by the template associated with this room. We can enter values manually by typing in the field and clicking Save. If we're dealing with a lookup value, we can select a drop-down and populate our value with a predetermined value driven by the lookups editor. Again, this is entirely customizable. If you wish to see additional fields or wish to remove fields, this can be controlled within the lookups editor. If we want to move back to our default values, we just need to select Default, and all those data updates are now overridden. If we move over to the FF&E tab now, we can see we have a required equipment list for this room and every room in the CodeBook database. If we click Show Properties, we can see any pertinent information associated with this object, such as its status, is it transfer, future or existing, a reason for update, a date we made some edits, notes, asset information, size, condition, and additional data. The reason we have a required equipment list in CodeBook is it allows us to validate the brief versus what we're actually supplying in a Revit model. As the design process continues, and a room undergoes markups, changes can be tracked. Items are simply not deleted, they're omitted. If there's been a genuine mistake, you can remove an item of equipment, but if we omit that item, and we can mark it as a client request, set a date, and leave a note. This allows us to track those changes later on, and this information will be output in the report if required. If we wish to use this list to insert these objects into the Revit model, we can right click and place into BIM, and we can do it for a singular item or all items in this list. If we wish to add content to the required equipment list, we can move over to our furniture, fittings and equipment selection, find what we wish to insert, such as a chair, and drag and drop that into the list. We can additionally right click, edit contents, we can add using code, we can replace this item with something else, we can edit a note, we can omit, or we can actually increase the quantity. If we move over to the Design tab now, this is driven directly from the Revit model, and you will note we cannot make changes or remove items manually from within CodeBook in this section of CodeBook. This ensures the correctness of the Revit model. To update the design equipment list, we can right click and update the design equipment list for this room, or we can click the Home tab and select the FF&E lists synchronize, and this will update the designed equipment lists for the entire department, floor or building. If we now look at the comparison, we can see that we have a CHA017 missing from a Revit model, and we can right click and place that into BIM. And we also have an additional board, so we can right click, highlight the position, CodeBook will show us where this item of equipment exists, and we can then remove it from a Revit model to be sure this change is valid. That concludes the Room Editor tutorial. If you have any questions, please contact support@codebookinternational.com. Thank you.